Good morning, Representative Stevenson, and welcome to the testifiers table. You do have the DE for 1615. What we'll do is we'll have an opportunity to do a setup on this, and if you can do it if you want to, or nonpartisan, that is your call. Secondly, again, members of the public will have an opportunity to testify on the bill. Member questions and final adoption and consideration of the DE will occur at tomorrow's meeting. Representative Stevenson, Chair Stevenson, welcome, and how would you like to proceed?
Mr. Chair, thank you. Yes, this is the cannabis bill. I think, we passed a large bill in 23, a smaller bill in 24, and this is yet still a smaller bill here in 25 as we kind of get more into the regular order, similar to the liquor bill where we have smaller changes. The bill contains bills that were heard in this committee on a previous date. Mr. Chair, if you'd like to have nonpartisan walk through the bill, that's fine by me. If you'd like me to describe further, that's fine by me. I defer to you.
Mr. Chair, just for transparency for everyone, since we do have another cannabis bill coming up later today, so people know what's being contemplated currently in the DE, I think it might be helpful for those present, including the committee, to get an overview of what we're looking at. So if it's okay with you, we'll defer to Ms. Pompel and ask her, or excuse me, Mr. Johnson, and see if he can help us with some of the overview. Mr. Johnson.
Mr. Chair, members, it is Ben Johnson with House Research. I will do a fairly high-level walkthrough. The House File 1615 DE is divided into 3 articles. The first article deals with medical cannabis provisions. These provisions come from 2 House files, House File 1672 and House File 1877, which this committee did hear. There are no notable changes to those provisions. They deal with a variety of technical changes related to the current medical rules, which are or statutes rather, which are in Chapter 152, and make some changes in Chapter 342, which will be the new medical rules, primarily related to visiting patients, to address both patients from other states as well as addressing patients who are enrolled in the tribal medical programs. That's, again, high level, but that's Article 1, which the committee has heard those provisions. Article 2 of the DE consists of provisions from House File 1310, House File 1877, House File 1734, and Senate File 2216. I believe that's all of the provisions. I'm sorry, House File 1634 as well. Again, the committee has heard all of those provisions with the exception of the Senate provisions. Those 2 Senate provisions relate to the licensing for the testing facilities. There's been some concern that the accreditation process for testing facilities will not smoothly line up with the licensing procedure. And so there are 2 new provisions from that Senate file that allow the office to essentially grant a variance to testing facilities when the testing facility makes certain demonstrations that they are in the process of achieving accreditation. The remainder of those sections relate to changes to cannabis business licensing and operations, primarily technical changes and corrections. The final article, this is Article 3. These are the hemp business regulations. Article 3 consists of provisions that were in House File 1271 and House File 1877, as well as some provisions from House Files 1615 and 1735. As members may recall, there was discussion about the cannabis, the lower potency hemp edible wholesaler provisions, and there was significant testimony in this committee. Those various provisions have been amended fairly significantly. The testimony in committee related to the fact that the original bill reserved that wholesaler provision exclusively for current liquor wholesalers. The new version that is in the bill would open that license up to anyone to qualify, to apply for and potentially obtain. It does not limit it solely to the liquor wholesalers. There are a few other cleanup provisions in there related to adjustments to the amount of cannabinoid that beverages can contain. Again, the committee heard that bill, but there was testimony that currently a single, say, can or bottle can have up to 10 milligrams, but there's a requirement that that be identified as being 2 separate servings. The original bill did change that and made it 1 serving. That same policy is in the new bill, but there's been some language tweaks, mostly for readability and accessibility. Mr. Chair, I think that concludes a high-level walkthrough of the 3 articles.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. And with that, Representative Stevenson, any questions or comments for the committee before we move to public testimony?
No, thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right. With that, our first testifier is Eric Tobble, who is the interim director of the Office of Cannabis Management. And as Mr. Tobble makes his way to the testifying table, the next testifier will be Glenn McElfresh. Director, welcome. If you'll identify yourself for the record and proceed with your testimony this morning.
Thank you, Chair O'Driscoll. Thank you to Chair Herr as well. Thank you to Representative West and Representative Stevenson, who have worked with us throughout session to bring these bills forward. I also want to thank the other members of the committee and their staff. I've had a chance to meet with most of you and talk about the policy imperatives for the office. The omnibus covers a number of key areas that are going to help the agency sort of achieve its mission over the next couple of years. Recognizing a lot of faces in the crowd and a lot of interest, I'll uncharacteristically keep my comments brief. We have 4 giant buckets that are relatively narrow in terms of what they're trying to accomplish. First, we're focused on cannabis licensing rollout. As noted, we create a licensing variance for testing facilities. This is designed to ensure that the market's able to launch effectively and have the kind of testing capacity we need to ensure that products are safe. We're also making targeted changes to the application process based on learned experience from the past application cycle, notably removing the onerous requirement of 2 signatures for corporations when we have myriad other places in the application where people attest to their ability to bind the organization. We're also focused on continuity for the medical program. We're making changes to ensure that telehealth is actually accessible for medical cannabis patients, and we're strengthening protections for those patients in areas of employment, education, and where they live. We're also focused on the hemp licensing market launch. We've identified a number of application areas where if we don't make tweaks or changes, it could delay the ability for the office to license those hemp operations that are already existing within the state of Minnesota. Finally, as Mr. Johnson noted, there's a number of technical fixes and corrections that are really aimed to ensure clarity for program administration by the office. I thank all of you for your time and support on these proposals.
Thank you, Mr. Tobble. And again, members, we will take our questions and things tomorrow. So our next testifier, again, Glenn Elfresh, followed by Latila Fatia, excuse me. And then following Ms. Fajita will be Jeff Taylor. So again, if you want to start getting in queue just so we can keep things moving, that'd be most helpful for everyone. Welcome to the committee. If you'll state your name and provide your testimony.
Chair O'Driscoll and Chair Herr, committee members, thank you for allowing me to speak today on House File 1615, the Omnibus Cannabis Policy Bill. I'd like to thank Chair Stevenson and Representative Nolan West for all their work on cannabis, and Chair Stevenson in particular for authoring the bill. I'd also like to thank Interim Director Tobble and the OCM staff for their tireless work. My name is Glenn McElfresh, and I'm here today as a co-founder of Plift, a lower potency hemp beverage company. I also own a cannabinoid emulsion company and sit on the board of the Hemp Beverage Alliance, the leading hemp beverage trade association. I've been fortunate these past few years to help hundreds of entrepreneurs launch their lower potency hemp beverage, and the most common question I get is, where should I launch my drink? My answer is always Minnesota. Minnesota set the stage for what a hemp beverage regulatory framework should look like, thanks to the great work of many of you who helped set up this marketplace for THC beverages 2 years ago. Minnesota is a nation-leading market with steady growth, educated consumers, and a network of retailers, distributors, and manufacturers who want to see hemp beverages flourish. Launching in Minnesota is an easy recommendation for me because it's also born out of my own experience. Minnesota was Plift's first marketplace and is home to 4 of our great employees, Sean, Bruce, Carlin, and Bree. However, in the past 12 months, both new and well-established brands are choosing to forego launching their products in Minnesota because of a state-specific and nuanced labeling requirement that prevents brands from being compliant with both Minnesota law and the law of certain other states. In Minnesota, a lower potency hemp beverage can have up to 10 milligrams of THC per can, as long as that can contains no more than 2 5-milligram servings of THC per can. However, states such as Georgia and Kentucky currently do not permit multiple servings per container, and states like Rhode Island and Illinois are contemplating legislation that would not permit multiple servings per container. The only way for a brand to work around this issue is to significantly invest in packaging materials or launch in a new market without their top-selling 10-milligram drinks. Neither option is a great one. The provision to fix this situation is found in the Delete Everything Amendment on page 50, lines 50.29 through 50.30. This change permits brands who sell a 10 milligram drink to label that drink as a single 10 milligram serving with only one serving per container. This change will keep in line with the spirit of the law that caps THC beverages at no more than 10 milligrams of THC per can, while evolving with the national hemp beverage regulatory landscape. House File 1615 will also allow Minnesota businesses to export their great products to other states and allow other out-of-state businesses to throw their hat in the ring and see if their brand can compete with the best of the best here in Minnesota. Chair O'Driscoll and Chair Hurd, members of the committee and Chair Stevenson, thank you once again for the opportunity to testify today, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for your testimony. And the next testifier, again, Leila Fatihi. And then if Mr. Taylor would like to come up and sit in the next chair, that'll help save us some time. And then our final testifier who has signed up in advance on this bill, Patty Gelk, we'll have you also on deck here. Good morning. Welcome to the committee. And if you'll proceed by giving us your name and your testimony. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. Good morning. I'm Leila Fatihi, and I'm here on behalf of the Minnesota Cannabis and Drug Policy Resource Center, or MNCAN, a public benefit organization committed to advancing sustainable, equitable, and effective cannabis policy in Minnesota. We appreciate the thoughtful work in the DE amendment to House File 1615 and support many of the provisions that are included. We also thank the Office of Cannabis Management for championing many of these changes in their agency package and for the committee in including them in this bill. We do, however, want to highlight several key areas that still need attention to ensure that the final bill delivers on its promise. Please note that we did submit written testimony that you should have in your packets, fleshing out these issues in more detail. First, on medical cannabis, we strongly recommend allowing adult patients' dosing plans to be tied directly to their registry profile. This would allow adult patients to access their medicine from multiple dispensaries without having to repeat costly and unnecessary pharmacist consultations, a change that patients have been calling for years. We also urge that civil and criminal protections, which currently apply only to Minnesota medical cannabis registry patients and tribal program patients, to be extended to all visiting patients. We also recommend clarifying that healthcare facilities must accommodate all forms of legal cannabis, including hemp-derived and adult use products for registered patients. These updates are essential to preserving safe, consistent, and non-discriminatory access to care. Second, for hemp businesses, we very much appreciate the creation of a new lower potency hemp wholesaler license, but encourage reconsideration of the $10,000 license and renewal fee for that license type, which is prohibitively high, especially for smaller hemp operators, especially in rural areas. This will help ensure that the hemp market remains legal, accessible, and economically viable for the small businesses that built it. Third, on adult use licensing, we support the inclusion of delinquency and stays of adjudication as qualifying criteria for social equity applicants. We also support key fixes that allow micro and meso licensees to purchase cannabis and hemp-derived products from other license types, remove the unnecessary two-employee and randomized delivery requirements, and allow these businesses to conduct delivery directly. These provisions help level the playing field and ensure the market reflects Minnesota's commitment to fairness and opportunity for small, locally owned businesses. Finally, as conversations continue around supply chain unification, we urge you to ensure that any combination licensing changes also preserve delivery, self-transport, and medical market access for micro and meso licensees. It's critical that patients are not pitted against small businesses and that Minnesota's cannabis market evolves with the equity and sustainability at its core. This bill represents meaningful progress, and with a few final refinements, it can serve as a strong foundation for a cannabis system that truly works for patients, consumers, and communities across the state. Thank you for your time and continued leadership.
Thank you for your testimony. Mr. Taylor, followed by, again, Patty Gilk, if you would come up and be available. Good morning and welcome to the committee. If you'll state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Good morning. My name is Jeff Taylor. I'm a local manufacturer here in town. I just wanted to speak briefly on two subjects. One is CBD. I know there's some things that are coming down the pipeline with CBD and changing of the milligrams that you can have. I guess I'm a little bit unsure if we know what CBD is. I don't think everybody understands what CBD is. CBD actually does not get you high. And so I don't even know why we have any limits on CBD at all. Matter of fact, we always talk about if a child gets a hold of it, a child could get a hold of that and eat the whole jar, and they might get sick from the sugar, but not the CBD, and they're not going to get high. Maybe they get a little tired, but it's just, I think we're putting a lot onto enforcement and Department of Cannabis when they're out there worrying about these things, and they already have enough on their plate. They're dealt a hand that's a tough job, and so my hat's off to what they are doing, but I don't think we need extra regulations, and I don't know, again, I don't know why we're regulating CBD at all. It's like taking water, okay? Secondly, I know that there's a lot of discussions that's gonna come up today with medical. We had a meeting a couple weeks ago about the medical, and I think some of us out here are willing to help. We do appreciate some of the things that medical has done, and medical has been needed over the last few years, but we're also willing to sell medical products on our shelves also. And I know it's going to come up with how much they get to grow and some of the things that they want. We just want a fair playing
Yeah,
field.
Mr. Taylor, you are exactly correct. That is the next bill, and so I would just ask you to, keep your comments to the DE amendment,
Okay.
and I think we've got the gist of what you're looking at.
That's all I have to say. Thank you for your
Thank you.
time.
Yes, appreciate it, Mr. Taylor. Representative Stevenson, did you want to make any comment about CBD or anything that the testifier talked about today?
No, I don't have any comment.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Gilk, welcome to the committee. If you'll state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Thank you. Thank you, Representative Stevenson. Thank you all for helping with the bill, House File 1615. My name is Patty Gilk. I am a registered nurse and the founder of Just Natural CBD Wellness. 7 years ago, I had 3 kids in college, John, Emily, and Sam. That's where Just came from. At that time, I started going through menopause. I talked to my doctors and told them I wanted to research the science behind CBD products for a natural solution for my symptoms. Then in late 2018, there were over 3,000 CBD brands. And after extensive research, I chose some brands that were reputable, and I started taking CBD every day. And not only was it calming me right away, it literally changed my life. And it's at this point that I became so passionate about sharing this knowledge with everyone I knew that my family encouraged me to open a business in our community to educate and provide a safe place to purchase the highest quality CBD products. Now, 6 years later, we have grown to 3 locations, Excelsior, Eden Prairie, and Victoria. Not only do we educate the community, we are members of 3 local chambers, donate to many local causes, and help thousands of people. In 2023, we were awarded Business of the Year by the Excelsior Lake Minnetonka Chamber of Commerce. Over the years, there have been many bills, this one included, written with ongoing changes. First, positive laws for consumer safety were put into place. This helped me to make business decisions like opening new locations, but then attempting to take away legal products that I have been carrying in my stores. The majority of the products that Just Naturals offers are not intoxicating, and we do not sell any smokable products. Some of the proposed changes in the bills would significantly reduce the number of products we can offer our customers or make them so costly that we couldn't be competitive. Many of my customers are Minnesota seniors, and a lot of them do not want to be forced to go into a recreational dispensary for their CBD products. If businesses like Just go away, consumers will go online and buy unvetted products. There are 3 items that I would like to address in 1615. I appreciate all the work that everyone's done on the bill this far, and I don't know that it's enough to keep my doors open in our community. The first issue is the limits on non-intoxicating cannabinoids, which everyone has talked about already. The changes in the bill are restricting my business, in ways that are not reasonable. Putting in practical limits on non-intoxicating hemp products for me, but not a cannabis retailer, is not fair. And all of the file numbers, I sent a PDF, so you'll have all of that. Issue number 2, allow low-dose hemp retailers to purchase Minnesota-compliant products from reputable out-of-state companies without paying $10,000 for a wholesale license, which is an unreasonable amount for a small business. I've been doing this legally for 6 years, and I understand that we want things safe, but if we register the out-of-state brands, That should be sufficient. My business model is vetting the best products in the country all in one place. We adhere to the Whole Foods banned ingredients list to choose our brands. There are many companies that use dyes and chemical preservatives, which I will not carry. I have Minnesota brands as well as very popular and highly reputable out-of-state brands. Minnesotans need to have in-store access to the best products on the market today, regardless of manufacturing location. It took years to build relationships with my out-of-state manufacturers. And number 3, non-intoxicating products like CBD should be on a shelf, not locked behind a case or locked behind the register like intoxicating products. You would have a store with a register and everything behind it. So that is a simple fix with one word in the bill. There's room for everyone in this cannabis space. Please don't forget about small businesses and the huge demographic of Minnesotans who just want low-potency hemp products and are
Ms.
so
Gilk, I am
grateful.
going to ask you to wrap in the next about 30 seconds or so, if you would, please.
Thank you. So then I'm happy to meet with anyone if you have any questions, and there'll be a PDF posted, like I said.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that exhausts the list of testifiers who signed up in advance? Is there anyone from the public today who would like to testify on the matter before the committee, House File, or excuse me, DE1 on House File 1615? Anyone from the public wishing to testify on 1615, the DE1 amendment? If you'll make your way to the testifying table, we'll give you about 45 seconds or so to share your thoughts this morning. And again, this is the Cannabis Omnibus Policy Bill for the Commerce Committee in the House. Good morning, sir. Welcome to the committee. If you'll state
Good
your
morning.
name.
Thank you for having me, and I'll make it quick. My name is Ben Lipkin, founder of North Star Hemp, founded in 2019, Carpe Diem CBD, one of 2 certified organic farms, soiled farms in the state. We currently manufacture and wholesale to over 3,000 physicians in-state and out-of-state. Just like Patty said, if these limits to oral CBD is taken away, our patients will not be going to dispensaries to get this. They will be buying reputable brands offline, and all the revenue coming to small businesses will be wiped out. Second, that our company just built out the first ever accredited CE program for Northwestern Health Sciences and educated over 400 chiropractors. There is nothing unsafe about CBD. As you can tell, I'm very, very passionate about this. I've been fighting this since 2013. There's absolutely no reason for non-intoxicating CBD that binds your endocannabinoid system to get it back into balance to be a part of a cannabis bill. Thank you very much.
Yes, Mr. Lipkin, I also see you're on the list to testify in 2426 as well. Is there anyone else who would like to testify before the committee on the DE Amendment 1615? All right, Representative Stevenson, any final comments before we move on?
No, Mr. Chair, I see there's a lot of people who want to testify in the next bill, so I'll save our discussion for tomorrow.
Much appreciated. And members, if you would take and file this in your packet as well, the DE for tomorrow, as we did with the Commerce Policy Omnibus Bill, that would be very helpful.